Presentation is the final stage on the EDRM model, and probably one of the least talked about, simply because not all eDiscovery projects are designed to even see the presentation stage. For example, supplemental information requests by the Competition Bureau. Once the evidence is exchanged and the business transaction is approved, there is no need for the formal arbitration or trial. What is presentation? The documents that were previously collected, processed and reviewed, and subsequently produced as Schedule A are now used as evidence in a formal setting at trial, arbitration, cross-examinations, depositions, which means the best way to start with the presentation stage is by consulting with the legal team to see what kind of documents they're going to rely on and how to make sure that their evidence is seen in the best possible light. Once the legal team provides their vision, do a research and see what kind of technology has become available to the market in the last quarter. You know, everything is changing so quickly these days. Don't rely on your knowledge even from last months. One of the tools that are now available is an 84-inch whiteboard, which would be a great presentation tool for a construction case which relies on the blueprint of the site and appears to be the epicenter of the presentation and evidence. It would be a shame to find out that the judge is going to review this evidence on an 8x10 tablet. Once you decide what kind of equipment the legal team would like to see, ask the court if they would like to have a copy of the same setup that will be used for your party's presentation. For example, if the legal team is going to use to demonstrate Excel spreadsheets that roll out to the right like the red carpet, dual monitor setup would be very appropriate for this presentation. Ask the court if they already have access to such setup, or maybe you could send the monitors on a loan to the court for this specific proceeding. Once the technology is decided on and agreed upon by the court and the other side, the next stage would be to set up everything that you're going to use for the actual proceeding in the place where you're going to continue with the proceeding, preferably at the time that you're going to do it, to test the technology, equipment, and video conferencing solution. I'm saying try to do the test run at the time of the day, preferably of the exact day of the week that you're scheduled to speak, to make sure that you have enough bandwidth. What if it happens to be the lunch break in the local school and all the people in the area are watching cartoons on Netflix at that time? Would be a shame to find out during the actual presentation. Now, once the technology is agreed upon and the video conferencing solution is often dictated by the court, come up with Plan B and potentially even Plan C for the video conferencing solution, because it would be a shame to have the Zoom server fail during your opening argument. Agree with the other side and convince the court on the alternative service provider. If the trial is scheduled in British Columbia, the court probably prefers Teams. Decide on the second option, possibly WebEx, and then consider even the third one, possibly Zoom. And once all the video conferencing solutions are agreed upon, download them on the computer that you're going to run the presentation from, to make sure not to lose any time downloading the right app and making sure everyone has the same version. Now, once the technology is agreed upon, someone needs to have the master control of the presentation. Just like in the physical room, there is a person with a master control button, who can turn off the witnesses' microphones should the evidence be inadmissible or offensive. The same goes for the virtual room. Someone needs to have an ability to turn off everyone's video and microphone for the same reasons, in case the evidence is inadmissible or offensive. Don't be afraid to ask one of the parties with superior technical skills, but by all means reach out to third-party vendors who are skilled in the presentation phase and also have access to technology, are familiar with the latest trends, and most importantly, have seen it done and fail. At Wesden, we have participated at virtual trials and have information about the latest trends and technologies and judges' preferences. Don't judge a book by its cover. Some of the older judges actually prefer virtual setup because, as one of them said, he enjoys the gallery view of his Zoom meeting to see how certain statements land for each of the participating party. Reach out to Wesden. Let's brainstorm, research, and set up your presentation together and make sure that your evidence is seen in the best possible light.